Tonight, I wanted to share my near-death experience story. I've had this site for 7 years now, and I shared my story on a couple podcasts, but I've never told it myself and by myself. And lately, I keep getting. I'm someone who feels deeply, and I've been feeling so much about the world right now and people's emotions, people's feelings, and I know that many people are waking up now. Many people are just stepping into their awakenings, and the journey's kind of scary. So that's why I'm sharing this, because I hope that there's a message of hope that people pick up from. But to begin with my near-death experience, I'm just going to jump into it. It was a night I was driving home from work, and I happened to hit a tree going 60 miles an hour. I don't remember the impact, but I do remember looking down on myself in the ambulance and them cutting the clothes off of me. They were getting ready to administer CPR because my heart had stopped. So I was watching all this, and there's moments that go in and out of this. And the next thing I remember was being in the hospital, and they were bringing me back again. Through that, I also experienced my aunt was pulling me out of the light. There was a tunnel for me. Some people's experiences are so different, but there was the typical tunnel for me. I saw the light. I had the tunnel, and the light was incredibly bright. It was a wonderful feeling, and my aunt was carrying me out of it. I had lost my aunt when I was 16 years old, and she was carrying me out of the light, and she put me on this bench. She was holding me on this bench, and we were in the tunnel, and the light was like right there, glistening. The next thing that happened was my grandfather had shown up, and I had lost my grandfather when I was 12, and they were both just holding me and just looking down on me. And I didn't know really what was happening. I didn't know. Some people can conceive that they're actually in heaven or that they've died, but I didn't have that. I was just in their arms, and I got this sensation. They told me to smile. So I smiled, and all of a sudden I started to feel the sensation in my face coming back. And apparently that was when I had woken up in the hospital, and my parents were there over me, looking over me. And I remember them telling me to smile so they knew I was okay. So I had been smiling. I told them I was okay. Came to, I guess. And I was in the hospital a few days because I had also severed my liver, broken ribs, multiple abrasions all over my face and body. If you remember the old ashtrays that were in cars, I have a nice old scar on my knee from that, a permanent ashtray scar. The recovery period for that was several months, having my ribs heal. But the awakening part of it was that I had crossed over. So when you come back, you're stripped of your senses. I was stripped of everything that I had known before. Didn't resonate with me. My friends weren't the same. Things didn't fit. I tried to fit back in, and it was a challenge. I ended up moving to another state with my parents about 6 months after the accident. And adjusting to that was bigger of an event because I started to get communication with the other side where, the dead was flocking in. They wanted to talk to me, but I didn't have it in me to talk. I didn't know what it was about. I was terrified of dead people. I didn't understand what was happening, but luckily I had my mother that is a psychic medium, and she really helped guide me through some of that awkward transition period time. I kept having this dream also of my grandfather that would come through, and it was just clear as day, and he would be chasing me down this tunnel and like alleyway, and it would be like raining out, and the moon was glistening, and it was just scary for me because I didn't know why he was chasing me. So my mother said to me, what just turn around and ask him what he wants. And I didn't know that you could control your dreams at that time. So I I finally had the dream again, and I had somehow told my mind to turn around and ask him what he wants. And I turned around and I just said, "What do you want from me?" And he just grabbed me and he said, "Once you stop running, things will get better." And it was profound, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know how to stop. I didn't know that I was running, but I was in a severe depression for 15 years because I had crossed over to a side that was love. It was unconditional. It was everything that you escape from this world. It was a place of peace and calm. Hold on, I lost my train of thought. So during the depression, I tried to keep the pieces of my life together. I just kept trying to move forward. You make yourself, you chase a dream, you keep going for this goal, you keep going for that goal. Meanwhile, I had always known that I needed to tap into whatever this was, but it was incredibly hard for me to face. And I started to have a breakdown with it back in like 2011. My body started to break down and I didn't know why. And it's basically what you run from will start to catch up with you. By the time I was 34 or 35, I had a tremendous seizure. I had started having seizures during this journey. And every time that I had one, I guess I felt like it was God coming through to talk to me, to be like, wake me up in some way. Like somehow I needed him. Somehow I needed this message, like to keep him reassuring me that he was there. Now, when you're in a seizure, you're in limbo. You're between heaven and earth. So sometimes you don't know if you're going to turn back on. You don't know if you're going to, you don't know those things, but you're in that blackout period. So in this moment, this time, I was out with my mom. We were at a nursery flower shopping, and I just felt like something was going to happen. And I yelled for my mom, and all I remember next was looking down and seeing my mother. And she was frantic about, helping me. And I had given the opportunity that time to stay or go. They had told me, do you want to stay? Do you want to go? And I had seen how much my mom was freaking out that I had realized there was value in my life. There was a reason I was here. There was people that needed me. There was a purpose for me here. Although I didn't know what it was, I was like, I have to get it together. I have to do this. And I just remember saying, no, I need to stay. I have to stay. And the next thing I remember, I was waking up in the hospital with 11 staples being put in my head because I had smashed my head because I fell. And I just remember from that day forward, I had made a promise to myself to figure this out, to figure out how to find a life where I could feel heaven on earth all the time. So I just decided to start, diving back into the healing, diving back into the Reiki, because I had been Reiki certified when I was 15. I had always been connected to this stuff. Now, I want to rewind a little bit. Before my accident, I was getting warning signs. I had had a couple signs where the one time my brother was at my house and all of a sudden he blacks out. He's laying on the ground and I'm like, I jump on him and I'm smacking him to snap out of it because I don't know what's happening. And he reaches up and grabs me and he's like, the angels, they're all around you. They're all around you. They're watching you. Don't take them for granted. And then he passes back out and comes to, and I'm like, what just happened? Do you know what you just said? What just happened? So it was a moment that I didn't realize. I had no idea why it happened until, of course, after looking back on it. There was another instance where I came home from work and I would sit down and turn on Friends at the end of the night and just relax. And I had a picture that I had made and painted, and it was above my TV. And all of a sudden, I would come home and this face of Jesus was in my painting. And I was like, what is that? And I used to just see it and then I'd be like, all right, going to bed. I wasn't going to pay attention to it and I wasn't going to tell anyone about it because it was just way out there. So there were always signs for me to look out. The other thing that happened was 2 weeks before my accident, my mother, being in tune to everything, had a dream about this happening. And her sister, who was my aunt, had come to her in the dream and told her what was going to happen. So she knew what was happening 2 weeks before. She didn't know when it was going to happen, but when it did, she was the person who was in the hospital saying, "What did you see? What happened?" And I told her, and she was like, "That's exactly the dream I had." So, you can't warn people sometimes because they're not going to listen to it. Would I have listened to her? Would I have gotten in the car? Would anything have stopped me? I don't know if it would have saved me. I was driving home. So there's always kind of like signs that I would get. During my awakening, though, during this deep process, it was just a constant reminder of remembering that you are here for a purpose. There's always meaning behind your story. And with anything, they're always there. There's always somebody on the other side trying to communicate with you if you've had anybody pass. So rest assured that they're there, and they're always with you. And even when you catch yourself driving in the middle of the night or just driving during the day and your mind wanders and you're thinking about them and the grief comes back, that's actually them sitting right next to you telling you they're there. They're actually calling out for you. So when you think about that and that grief hits you, literally reel it in and go, "Oh my gosh, they're here. Hello, I love you." Know that they're sending you a sign. They don't want you to feel the grief. They want you to feel the love that they are feeling for you. Let me think. Oh, so during this process of wanting to heal and figure this out, I had started to go on Facebook because Facebook was around and you would dive into the chat groups. I started to find some groups that had near-death experiences. And I finally asked this woman, I said, "What happened to me?" And she said, "You went through a portal. And when you go through a portal, you are stripped of your senses. You become new. It's like everything is new again. You're reborn." So that's exactly why I wish I had been told that years prior, so it would have helped me connect the dots, but it didn't. I had to go through the pain of what I did to get to where I am now, to dig into it. I also started this page, and I started this page, a couple of years after this had happened. My awakening happened. But when I started the page, I was always feeling so deep for people that were in deep depression, who did feel like they didn't want to be here. And what I wanted people to know is that it's not that you don't want to be here. It's that you want that chapter to end. You want that pain to end. You want the happiness. You want the job. You want the family. If you want, you want what everybody else has. So it's not about leaving this earth. It's about working through it and getting to the other side, because you will get to the other side. It's just taking those steps, and you have to dig through the layers of the pain. What brought you to these places? What molded you? What did the world say to you that made you shut down? And remember who you are. I started this page also because I wanted people to know that. So I would post the energy updates for people to understand that you're not crazy. You're feeling these things. You're feeling the energy shifts because you're being called to. You're being called to tap in. You're being called to ascend, to feel more, to dig into it. So through this journey, I never, ever in a million years expected the page to grow the way it did. I just did it out of my heart, and I did it as like a Pinterest because I love Pinterest. And at the time, I was actually feeling the breakdown of my body also because I had not known that I was suffering from Lyme disease as well. So in the process of going through my recovery with Lyme disease, I made the page and just always knew that everything I went through did align. There was something on the other side that was going to reach me. And, to this day, sometimes I go, I don't know what my purpose is, but our purpose is always evolving. And it's not about what job you do or anything. It's about sharing your story. It's about sharing with others because you're not alone. There's so many people that feel everything, whether they want to admit it or they don't. There's people out there that need to know and find comfort in you. You could have a best friend next to you that's suffering that you don't know about. But unless you share something, actually feel, because I'm sure all of you feel on a level that you don't understand sometimes. And it's about, if you feel that pull to share something, share it, because that's going to open a doorway for you, for them, for healing, for joy, just to let them know you're not alone. I hope some of this has helped you. I'm trying to think of anything else I could throw in here for you, but if you have any questions, please let me know. I do hope my page brings some awareness to everybody. But if you have some questions about the other side or anything, please let me know. I'm going to check through the comments here. Maybe my mom jumped in to tell her side. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Oh, gosh, I forget there's time zones sometimes. Hello. Hi. Anybody? Oh, I do want to say also, with the fact that I can connect to the other side, you know, many people I am psychic medium. I do love to do Reiki, but at the same time, I'm not somebody who wants to do readings. But when I do Reiki, I do get people that come through. I do get the messages. I do get the downloads to tell you what's happening. But there's also a side of me that I want to share. This is where I'm at right now, where I just share this with my connections, the people that have passed over. This is between me and them. Before I used to want to tell my story and nobody would listen. It was like I was talking to a wall sometimes, and I was like, you know, I guess people don't want to hear this. And this was years ago, and my mom told me, she goes, Katie, this is between you and God right now. You get to work this out with God to figure out where it needs to be. So that's what I listened to. So it's interesting I'm here now, but please let me know if you need to hear anything. And at some point, I know that that almost sounds like a walk-in. You know, that's interesting. People talk about walk-ins, and people have different theories on it. Some people believe that a new person enters your body. I believe it was just God. And, you know, there's a point in time where it was the greatest love I ever felt that saved me, I believe. So it's just getting back, always remembering that love is in you. So when I'm feeling lost, I literally just put my hands in my heart and connect with that love. And it brings me back to now, to present, to stay within myself. Oh, hi, Mom. My mom is on. Saying, saw a documentary. I know, I've seen many documentaries where people have had the same experiences as me. And I've seen many documentaries where people have had the opposite effect, where they're stuck in a hell. And is there a hell? I believe it's a vibration. You know, it's what we hold. I don't know. We don't know, you know? So you know, when people say they absolutely know what's on the other side and how things work, everybody's experience is going to be different, I think. Although I do know from my experience that what I saw was wonderful. My family's over there and they're still communicating with me. Mom, you got anything to say? Oh my God. I'm not gonna. Hold on, I'm going to see if my mom will connect because I'm sure she's got some 2 cents to say. So hang on, Mom. I don't know if she'll join. Oh, she is. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
You got to flip the camera around.
Oh, crap. Okay, hold on. I don't know how.
She's never done this. Look at the little arrows. There you go.
I got it. But I didn't know you were going to put me on. I'm just sitting on the front porch.
I'm sorry. You
That's
logged on,
all
so I
right.
got you on.
That's
Was there
all right.
anything you wanted to share? I don't know how
No,
long you've been listening.
I just thought it was wonderful what you said. I have from being on my side of the situation, it was very hard to watch you go through all that, and knowing that all along that you needed to do this alone. I don't know how many times I told you to, you had to trust yourself. You just had to trust yourself through the situation. And not only that, the fact that you could take the time to put all the dots together. It took you a long time to be okay with being on Earth after your experience, and it took a long time for you to decide to listen to all the beautiful messages you were getting from the other side. And I think watching you struggle through that was hard for me because it's like, just get it, and you'll be okay.
Typical
But
mom,
yeah,
which is true. You
typical
know,
mom.
and
But
the other thing that happened, sorry, I'm cutting you off, but the other thing that happened, which affects everybody in your life, the choices you make, the things you do. Um, she, she had when this happened, the hospital, the hospital had called them, and it wasn't the hospital, it was the chaplain that called them. And they
yeah,
had told me that my dad was screaming in the phone, "Is she dead? Is she alive?" And they couldn't tell him. They didn't know because they were bringing me back. They couldn't tell him. So them just racing to the hospital, them having a daughter that
well,
they didn't know if they were going to lose or not.
yeah,
So
and
everybody has choices.
yeah, and when I walked into the hospital and I saw you, I went right to the gurney and emergency room, and I knew you weren't most of you weren't there. I could tell that you weren't there. And then being in your room watching, I kept telling Dad to talk to you because it was very important. And then Chrissy, my sister, was telling you to smile.
Mhm.
She kept telling you to smile, but I kept telling Dad to talk to you. Um, that was so powerful for me to know that you were. I knew you were on the other side because we were watching the monitors, and the monitors kept going. I called the nurse. I said, "She's going," and it was just a brief few minutes that you were gone, but it was in that time period where but grandpa was there too, and they were telling you to come back. It was so incredible that I could see and feel what was going on the other side, even though you were in the bed. Did I say that right? You were in the bed, and I could see, I could feel what was going on the other side. But my thing was, were you going to come home to us? It was that was a very hard moment, but I knew that if you had to stay, that we would all be okay.
Well, thank
Yeah, yeah.
you. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
no. I meant that it just was in me that, um, not that we wouldn't miss you or anything like that, but I knew that you would be in a better place, but and at peace and the love, because I felt the other side myself before, and it's so incredible. There are no words in our vocabulary to describe the
Yeah.
warmth, the beauty, and the love that's on the other side. I will always remember that because it was so powerfully spiritual for me at that time too. That
Yes, and
what
this
we were going through.
there was a comment here that says, "Does this apply to animal souls too?" Absolutely. So I have a thing for you. So I had this Chihuahua, and I thought the thing hated me, honestly. And so part of my experience is I get angels that show up in my pictures. So when I'm feeling a certain way, I will take a picture, and there will be an angel in it. So the one day this one caught me off guard though. I took a pic and my Chihuahua was in the picture. And so, yes, they're there. So like I said, when you're feeling them, when you're mourning them, when you're missing them, they're there. They're just saying hello. So when you're feeling that, you're feeling your grief, but you're also feeling, hey, they want you here. So remember
Yeah.
that. So you perk up. You know they're there.
Yeah, they're always around too. They'll come at times when you don't think they're there, and they're there. You might think of them, or you might see a toy that you forgot to throw away or kept or whatever, and that's them saying hello, just like people, like your relatives. They find like you smell something about them, or something they cooked, or something or saw something that they loved, and it's just, hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
We're on a bad hair day.
I'm sorry. I caught you off guard.
That's all right.
So Lyme disease is actually a tick-borne illness. Somebody asked what Lyme disease is, and it breaks you down. So my body started to deteriorate. I believe the seizures were from that. I don't know. Um, But it's a breakdown. People who go through it will mentally, if it breaks the blood-brain barrier, will start to make you crazy and it just makes you sick. My mother's going through it now. I've been in recovery. I've been in remission now for, I don't know, 4 years now. So
Yeah.
it's been good. But I was broken down to the point of needing help in all areas of my life. But that was my rock bottom, was also remembering that you have to stop. We're trained so much to keep going in life. We're trained so much to, nope, just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, and not listen. And you got to listen to your body. So now when I need to rest, I rest. There's sometimes I like to keep going, but you have to tap into that, because in those moments of rest is when you're actually getting the downloads, the messages, everything you need to turn that life around, to keep moving.
Yeah.
Why don't you remember it? Somebody says they had, you know what? You could remember it down the road. Down the road, you will start to have flashes of it, I bet. Because that's what happened to me also with certain moments I would start to remember. So if you're getting the physical sense, yeah, it's all coming through. And that's the thing, it'll start to wake you up in pieces, because if it wakes you up all at once, which it kind of does, it's just it's nerve-wracking, and it makes you feel
It's a lot to take in emotionally.
trusting the self is huge, and that's where we're at in this day and age. I feel like in the past, and maybe still, but I've grown past it. You used to be like, oh, put yourself in this situation, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's a group of people that you really don't want to be around. And guess what? That's not your tribe. You don't got to put yourself in that situation. I did that so many times, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be in this group because they're not my people. So move on, move on. Don't care about their opinions. Don't care about fitting in. Just move on. You'll find your people, and ask for that. Ask for the path of least resistance to finding my tribe, to finding this job, to finding this man or woman or whatever. You know what I mean? This life that you want, and you'll be shown these simple ways instead of bumping into walls. Sometimes I bump, but that's okay. Hold on, I'm reading some comments. Why was she in pain? Sorry, Fambrera. My niece was given the second chance. She said said no. She was in, but she came back, or did she, I'm sorry, or did she ascend? Yes, I'll post this. I'll definitely post this. Sorry, Mom, you're going to be on the live. It's just okay, I love life. It's just the body that breaks the mind. I feel so never ready, or at least I think so. You are, but these ascension symptoms, these symptoms of ascension that you go through, they're ugly. They don't feel good. They make you feel like you're crazy and jumping out of your body. And when you don't have somebody to turn to, like I'm lucky that I have my mom and my friends, because I can talk about it. I've got friends that don't feel this. My father doesn't feel these things. He thinks we're crazy, but we're not built like that. And yes, we're all chosen. We're all chosen. But there's also some people that are chosen to feel this and go through it, because we're connected to other dimensions. We're just built different. We're just here for different reasons. And usually that stems from trauma and stuff like that. But we all handle it different. But the point is to keep moving. After this accident happened, we had our house burnt down. We had moved to New Jersey. We had our house burnt down. We lost everything. And it was rebuilding again. So it was my accident, trying to rebuild from that, the house fire that we had. And I remember sleeping for 6 months. I shut down in my room and I was like, why am I here? Why would you send me back? Like, what is this? I don't care about this. I just want to be with you. I just want to be on that other side. And my mom would keep going. She would dig through the rubble. She would dig through the ash, the things that were there. And I said, how do you do this? And she goes, because you just got to keep moving. You just have to keep moving. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You do got to keep moving. Did I? I don't know. But
Not
you do.
much.
You just have to.
Slowly.
Right.
Slowly.
It was a numb process, but the important part is coming out of it. The important part is getting to that. Yes, acupuncture is good for Lyme. We've done that too. It is good for that. It's also parasites that'll make you crazy. So check your gut health.
Yeah.
To find out You have it right away. Oh yes, I know. We went through all of that with the chronic Lyme and the treatment. It's been 15 years that the NDD. No, so my NDE happened August 21st, 1999. It took me 15 years to get out of the depression, the severe depression I was in. So it's 26 years that this happened. I'm 45. I was 19 when it happened. It was 15 years of me trying to figure it out. And I was on the brink of jumping. I had actually gone into law enforcement. I had pursued law enforcement. I was a pistol rifle shotgun instructor. I was all these things, but I was avoiding what I needed to be. And I knew that. I knew before I jumped into the law enforcement and getting my degree in criminal justice and all that, but it was my way of helping. It was my way of feeling I could help people. And so but I knew in my mind I had to tap into this more. So when the law enforcement ended up not panning out, this is when my breakthrough was with all this. I said, okay, I got to get this together. I got to find this, because you find your path, because you're going to follow the joy. You're going to follow the things that you need there. But the tools I learned going through all that, and I owned a gym, I was a workout freak and done with that stuff. But, there's tools you learn along the way with every chapter you're in, with every job you do, with every emotion you feel. So I've learned a lot through that. Yes, not your people. They're not your people. Okay, sorry, reading more. And the other thing was I always used to keep myself, I always felt like I had to go out. I had to do these things. And what I realize now is I really like my alone time. I really like peace. I really like me. I really like my solitude. I really like just having that peace. So if I invite you into my life and we're hanging out, it's because I enjoy your energy, your peace. And you have to find that. Stop putting yourself in places that just bring you down, that don't lift you up, because it's important to be lifted up by your surroundings. I know family is always a tough one. I know that. But even then you can start to say no, because it just gets to a point where, and they'll adjust. You start setting your boundaries. The world is going to they'll fight back. They'll do this, but they'll adjust to your boundaries, because that's your life. That's the way it's going to be. It'll take some time, but everything aligns. Everything aligns. Hold on. I'm reading this. Yes, a person can be here in life just to help others. Sometimes I think, why am I telling this? Why do I share myself even? It's been 7 years. I don't share myself much on here, but I kept getting this message that I had to share this with you to start at the beginning. So the beginning I thought was reposting the energy updates. And I believe that is too. I believe me getting back to posting the Schumann resonance was helping people understand, the newer people, what they're feeling. But then I heard, no, I have to go back. I got to go back to the beginning, my story, my chapter. And I hadn't told that much. So that's why I'm here tonight, to tell that. So you're not alone. Please know that you're not alone. And every one of you has value. Every one of you shares value in this world. And whether you see it or not, you will. And whether it's that smile you give someone on the street, that piece, if you're an artist and you share your artwork, anything, if it's a doodle, it doesn't matter. There's a piece of you that contributes to this world that you might not even know about. So keep going. Keep going. Peace is such a beautiful feeling. Do I teach Reiki? I am a Reiki master teacher. My mother's a Reiki master teacher, but right now I'm really in mom mode. So I'm not in my teaching phase. I'm just kind of taking a break on that, but I will get to a point where I'll be back to that. So I'll keep you guys posted, of course. How can we keep positive energy around negative? You're going to stay in your lane is what you are. You got anything to say about that, Mom? I annoy the crap out of my mom. So tell me how you deal with me, Mom.
Oh, you just poof your energy all over the place. So I put a bubble of white light around me. And I have to tell myself, okay, you know, I know your energy. I know other people's energy. I might not be in a good mood to receive that energy or to be around that energy. So I put a bubble around myself and I'm conscious of where my mind is, that I'm not attaching myself to the negative part of somebody else's energy or, yeah,
And
not
I'm
trying
laughing
to.
because I will go to my mother's house and know not to bug her, but I just can't help myself.
I know it's annoying. It's just
But
so annoying.
I'm always so moved by how much she can tune me out that it teaches me how to tune others out that are bugging the crap out of me. So, and
But it
yes, say,
doesn't
go ahead.
shut your mouth. It doesn't shut your
It's
mouth.
just so hard. It's so hard. You want to poke the bear, but don't do that. That's not nice. We're
I'm the
both each
bear.
other's teachers. We're always teaching each
Yeah.
other. Now, the other thing, someone said, yes, say no. Say no, you're learning. Every time you say no, you keep a piece of yourself. You keep a piece of your sanity. You keep a piece of you. And it
Right?
gets hard when you first start saying it. When you first start saying no, it's almost like, oh, you feel bad, you feel guilty. But over time, you're going to realize, no, I don't want to go out. And you're at home, you're relaxed, you're in your bubble, and you just feel great. And you're like, I'm so glad I said no. So just remember that you keep a piece of you instead of give a piece of you away. Oh, thank you. I don't know ever who you help, but if you help one person, if somebody resonates with this, if anything like that, I'm just glad I was told to share this, so I'm sharing it. I don't know you. First time I saw a live stream or anything about you. Oh, thank you. It's meant. Thank you so much. And that's the thing. When I get on, I've been a couple lives. They're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I actually own the page." You got anything else to say, Mom? It is within.
No, I'm just paying attention here.
Yes, anybody can learn Reiki. Take a Reiki 1 class. There was a girl on my page, Awaken with Tegan, actually, and she is doing the Reiki classes on her page. So, and I gotta say, she's really good at tapping into things. She really is. So, if you're interested in taking the Reiki courses now, because I don't know when I'll be out of this mode, she is available for help also. Anybody can do it. And I tell all my clients who come that the best thing you can do is learn energy, learn about energy. And this class isn't long. And you learn so much about it. You're going to learn about your gifts. You're going to learn about the most important thing is learning your vibration. Am I boring you, Mother? Sorry.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just thinking about, um, before I do Reiki or before I even tap in and do a reading or anything, I say my prayer, but I always say, please keep my ego out of this because it's not about my ego. If I'm in my ego, then none of this works.
But you
Reiki
also, right.
none of it works because I'm
And
in my
you,
ego.
right, of course, connecting. But when you learn your vibration, you're going to learn in the beginning of Reiki.
Yeah,
That's what I was pointing out. Is when you learn how you vibrate, how you sit in peace. You're going to learn that when you walk into a room, you're going to you're going to feel this person coming at you, and you're going to feel their negativity, or you're going to feel them wanting to poof on you, wanting to kind of drown you in their mess, and you just have to go. Whoop. Or when you get home from work or something, you're just feeling so weighed down, but you and you're tired,
yeah,
just close your eyes and get that mess off of you because it's not yours. At the end of the night, say return to center because it's not yours. And
yeah.
yes, in this practice, when your mom reminds me of my mom. Oh, that's good people. They annoy us still, right?
Yeah.
Much love to you also. Oh, someone, I'm glad you came back. Please follow me. Pages, everything dotted lines. Hold on, I'm trying to find more. Yes, and when you keep your ego at it, there's when you're learning how to connect with the other side, practice. It's really important to practice, and when it all comes at you, but you'll figure it out. Find groups, find your tribe again. But there are groups. There's like an app called Meetup or something, and you
Oh,
can
yeah.
plug in, or even Facebook. There's psychic groups to join. Just make sure, just make sure you're not getting the fake bombs or the spammers, because
Yeah.
there's so many people that are scammed out there. And I'm so sorry if somebody's ever,
Right.
yeah, done that. Yeah, if you're sensitive to energy, definitely start learning about it a bit and take the Reiki class. Oh, and it goes, lots of people are doing it over Zoom now, so it's perfect. Or you can go in person. Just, Google Reiki places around you and go with your gut instincts, because if you're going to be led to somebody, trust your gut, trust the feeling you get with this person. Because if you meet this person and you don't feel good around them, don't go with them. The person I refer right now is, I'm going to put her name, Awaken with Tegan. Awaken with Tegan. Because she is doing the classes right now and she is good at it. So I will shout her out because I do appreciate her. And you can get a dose of her energy also. She does the full moon and new moon Reiki, which is $25, which is actually amazing. So you're getting a dose of her Reiki for 30 minutes, and it's a group session, but you feel it. You absolutely feel it. You'll feel emotion come up. Sometimes you get the sensations in your eyes where or the if you close your eyes, you'll start to see faces. Those are your guides. Those are your angels. They're all reaching you. I'm looking for more. Got anything else, Mama?
No, I'm all worn out.
Okay.
I just
You
get
can
up.
you can disconnect if you want. I'm sorry I connected
Okay,
you, but I
that's
wanted them
all right.
to meet you also because my mother's on the page also. So welcome
I'm sorry I
to
wasn't just sitting out here chilling.
we'll go ahead and chill. Do you know how to log off?
No, but
I think you just
I'll
back
figure,
out of it.
I'll figure it
Oh,
out.
let me disconnect you.
Okay.
Grandma turned on video.
Now you're all just staring at my front porch.
I know. I don't know how to get you off. So just
I'll
turn your
just,
phone off.
I will.
Oh, I think it is. Oh gosh, she'll be walking around the house and we'll find something. Anyway, I hope this helped you guys in some way. I would love to get back on and talk to you all. If you need anything, email me even. hello@everythingaligns.com. My DMs get full, so I'm so sorry about that. Messaging gets hard. But if you do message on my CMS XOXO page, because that helps. I can see those messages more. Nobody goes there. Just kidding. Um, all right, guys. I want to thank you so much for listening to my story. I encourage you to keep going and just know everything does align. What you're going through is going to lead you somewhere wonderful. You're going to feel the joy. I remember the first time I felt joy and it just was overwhelming, and you won't lose that. Okay. You'll constantly be brought back to that. So keep going. I love you all, and thank you all for following me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Bye.